Mini Amazons.
Shopify.
The world's retail operating system.
Shopify.
Selling an item is relatively straightforward. Whether it's old clothing, a bicycle, or even baked goods, someone is usually looking for something. You don't have to have an established relationship with them. These can be folks that you've never met. But what do you do if your ambitions are larger than bake sales and junk removal? What if you want to start an actual business? You could open a brick and mortar, but then you've got property to manage and a lot more overhead. You can use websites like eBay or Craigslist, but it's hard to rely on repeat customers when your items are stacked up against others on the same page. What you need is an e-commerce solution. And whether it's WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Magento, these companies are among a stacked lineup of business solutions that can help you run your own online store. Online retail sales are expected to reach over $6 trillion by 2023. But back in the early 2000s, one company, unbeknownst at the time, paved the way. Today, Shopify has a market cap of over $30 billion, dwarfing the competition. But founders Tobias Lütke and Scott Lake had no intentions of transforming the entire e-commerce industry.
I think Shopify is a great idea.
The results of what they found, though, provide valuable insight for anyone running their own SaaS business. We'll talk through all of that and more coming up next. I'm Ben Hillman, and this is Verticals. So let's set the stage for the e-commerce world. To start, when we talk about e-commerce, we're talking about the activity of electronically buying or selling products or online services over the internet. But commerce existed well before broadband and dial-up. It started to get interesting around 200 years ago. Starting with mail order shopping, traveling businessmen in the mid to late 1800s began sharing their product catalogs wherever they went.
To help the consumer buy.
The post office introduced rural free delivery in 1896, which set the American economy up for mail order delivery. Mail order delivery got another boost when phone lines became accessible to millions of people. This enabled faster ordering, and in some cases, you could even get next-day delivery. This was well before Amazon Prime. But it wasn't until the 1980s that e-commerce started to percolate. Phone line-powered Minitel systems made it possible to virtually bring products into millions of people's homes. A precursor to the internet, Minitel enabled online orders to be placed via electronic messages sent by a modem. But with only several million users, and mostly in France, it was still quite limited in scope. In 1994, Amazon rose to prominence. It began as an online marketplace for books, but quickly expanded to become the everything store.
This is the Kitty Hawk stage of electronic commerce.
Amazon simply dominated the online retail space. By 2018, it became only the second public company in the world to be valued at $1 trillion. But while it helps that Amazon was one of the first of its kind on the market, there's a certain subset of customers that it doesn't quite work for. Folks who wanted to start their own e-commerce sites. Back in the early 2000s, two programmers would show us why. Tobias Lütke and Scott Lake were burnt out and just wanted to focus on something that they were passionate about. So they settled on snowboarding. While neither had the talents of going pro or the ambitions of working at a ski resort, they found a different way to follow their dreams: an online snowboard store. They dubbed it Snowdevil, and it was a platform where they would use third parties to sell snowboards. But Amazon wasn't quite going to cut it. Lütke and Lake weren't looking to hawk old equipment or put it up against other competitors in the same window. They wanted to start a brand that people enjoyed using and trusted. Website tools at the time like Yahoo, Miva, and OS Commerce weren't going to cut it either, as they were too basic and too restrictive. Tobias said, "The final straw was when I got a custom design made for my snowboard store, and I couldn't get it to work in Yahoo stores. The customizability of Yahoo stores barely allowed me to change the background color of the top frame." Lütke and Lake quickly realized that they would have to build their store from scratch. Once launched in 2004, Snowdevil was humming along, but something interesting was happening. The Ruby on Rails community, which was the framework that Snowdevil was built upon, was much more interested in how they built the website than what the website offered. Sites like Amazon could function for the one-off sellers, but what Lütke and Lake were able to capitalize on was the desire of folks to start their own e-commerce business. By creating a subscription service, Lütke and Lake were able to form a relationship with this demographic, which would help them provide support and tools for them to thrive. In 2006, along with Daniel Wynand, Lütke and Lake launched Shopify, a website designed to help merchants build their own websites. The site saw gradual growth, doing around $8,000 in sales per month. But real profitability came with a change to their subscription model. Before the change, Shopify's billing was based on a flat rate system. Every customer would pay the same percentage of every transaction. The change they made in 2007 resulted in the pricing philosophy we see today, which ends up charging customers who are on higher tiers less per transaction than on lower tiers.
You don't want to put too many steps into the process.
In other words, the more you sell, the less you pay. For more on Shopify's pricing, check out our own episode of Pricing Page Teardown on the matter. But what were some of the other reasons that Shopify found success? User-friendliness is what Lütke and Lake wanted most. But Shopify's success doesn't stem only from ease of use. It also stems from centering the entire company around what is known as a mission metric. At Shopify, everything revolves around its customers. Building their brands, increasing their sales and revenue, everything from the design of the store templates to its pricing structure work to boost GMV, or gross merchandise value. When Shopify's customers make money, Shopify makes money. Furthermore, and sticking to its customer-centric mission, Shopify's integration with social media giants like Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat helps Shopify's users connect with customers extremely quickly, which vastly improved customer-merchant relationships for all of its partners in one fell swoop. Now, Shopify is similarly leveraging social media relationships to facilitate digital wallet purchases, which allows its subscribers to enjoy more streamlined purchases straight through their social media profiles. Additionally, Shopify is helping businesses even offline. Its extremely easy to use point of sale system makes it so folks running a Shopify web store can expand into the real world once they have an established business. Or alternatively, it makes starting from brick and mortar that much easier. We found in a Profitwell study that in-person customer contact with a brand can boost willingness to pay between 9 and 32%. It can also boost your expansion revenue by at least 10% and can climb to 30% for folks who have had multiple contact points. For more on this, you can check out this episode of the Profitwell Report. Ultimately, Shopify's example shows the importance of aligning business goals with customer needs. While their customers are not all in subscription or SaaS, they can provide a valuable case study on which you can learn from building your own SaaS business. Shopify is offering customers exactly what Lütke and Lake needed when they were running an e-commerce business themselves. By providing continual service updates and developing tools, Shopify is able to capitalize on this trustworthy relationship. While one can still sell individual items on eBay or Amazon, Shopify has enabled anyone to create an e-commerce business on a whim. They've even partnered with Amazon to enable Shopify users to sell on Amazon, allowing customers to tap into this sales channel quite seamlessly. Shopify has become a massive player in the SaaS and e-commerce space by making acquisitions left and right and continually updating its core offering. They may not be infallible, but hopefully you can take away learnings from the full spectrum of Shopify's existence. What topic do you think we could go deeper on? Let me know in the comments down below. From Paddle, I'm Ben Hillman, and I think I'm going to open up a snowboard store.